Welcome back, everybody, to the show, the Internal Compass Podcast, the podcast where I, your host, Samuel Archambault, osteopath and kinesiologist, I'll do my best to try to give you some tools and help you navigate to be a little bit more realigned with yourself from inside out and hopefully feel and live a pain-free life. So, in this episode, we're going to cover a very interesting and very curious topic, which is how can your personality affect what type of pain you're going to feel. And again, this is not a panacea, meaning that your personality doesn't necessarily equal what type of pain you're going to be feeling, but it has some evidence and it has some leads into telling you and telling us that if you are into this category, then you might be more prone to a specific type of pain. I did not come out with this type of theory out of my own. All of this is based on a well-known and scientific theory named the transactional analysis. If you want to dig deeper, I strongly recommend you to go and make your own research about transactional analysis. Once again, so those specific boxes of personality, they are not everything, right? Those are, in the context of today, I will call them drivers, and they are kind of boxes or categories into which some different type of patients can be recognized themselves into. In other words, this is applied for a medical and healthcare professional context, meaning you will probably, if you have visited or consulted a healthcare practitioner, and I like this theory a lot because as an osteopath, of course, I spend my day meeting a lot of different clients. So I'm going to myself see those different categories. So you might recognize yourself into one of those categories, hopefully. So next time you go to a healthcare practitioner, or next time that you have some thoughts about how you feel your pain, what type of pain you feel, then maybe you can recognize yourself into which category am I? And one last thing before we start digging into those specific drivers, those specific categories. This theory is not everything. In other words, you are much more than just a personality, a category, a label, right? Pain and you are things that are so much more complex than just that. So there are much more to it. So the goal here and the objective is not to give you a magic formula of, okay, if I am in this personality, then maybe I have more this type of pain, then I should do exactly that. What I suggest today, they are guidelines. They are just, this is interesting, and perhaps it will lead you somewhere. So it's a start. It's an opener. It's the way to open the door and look around and say, I can actually recognize myself in there. So maybe I can start using some of the tools and see where does that lead me. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to start with the first category. And I'll go category by category. And hopefully after today, hearing each of the different category, you'll be able to say, is this one me? Yes, no. Maybe you recognize yourself in more than one category. That's also okay. You can use the different tools for many different categories. But you'll see that there is probably one that is going to, let's say, show up and be a little bit more like, oh yes, like resonating with you. Then focus on that one at first, okay? The first one, and many of us are into that one, and probably I myself, I am into this one. It is the please other driver or please other category. So of course, those people, right? It's pretty self-explanatory. They're going to put their need aside for other people. They're not going to pay attention to their own need. And they're especially going to have symptoms of pain when they take too much on their shoulder, which is normally what they do because they like to please everybody else, right? Those people might be more prone to feel things like chronic pain, so pain that lasts over like few, if not many months. And those people might feel and tend to minimize their pain. Oh, it's not too bad. And then they're really in pain, but like, oh, it's okay. I can continue. There's no problem around that. Those are the people that I would put into the category of they need to please other people. And maybe you recognize yourself into this. And for that, the first tool I want to give you, and it's a very simple strategy. simple but very hard at the same time. It's to learn to say no and to learn to prioritize. To also learn to put some boundaries. Boundaries are not necessarily things that you're going to put as something very rigid in front of you and basically it's reject everybody else. That's not the case. Priorities and boundaries are more about yourself. So prioritizing yourself, think about it this way, right? What do you see the first time when you get into a plane and there are the emergency measures? It's always about putting your own mask first and then helping other people. Well, life is the same thing. You can't help any other people if you don't help and learn to help yourself first. So I would say learn to say no and then prioritize yourself first, not because it's selfish, because you want to help other people. So if you prioritize yourself first, then you'll be better able to help other people. The other, or let's say the next category or the next driver in this context is the one that I call be strong. It's the rock of the family. This one person that kind of everything lay on their shoulder. They feel like if it's not up to them, everything else will fall apart. You can feel like this maybe in your family, in your friend circle, at work also, right? Maybe you feel that you're the one cornerstone, the one pillar that your work environment cannot lose at all costs. So maybe that's you. Those people, when it comes to pain, they tend to keep up with the pain. In other words, they tend to just not only minimize their pain, but just they will endure and put more on their shoulder. And they say, it's okay. I am strong. I'll keep pushing forward. Maybe then you recognize yourself in that category as well. Often their symptoms are going to coincide with a period that they can't put the more pain and more like charge over their shoulder, meaning they will hold on for a long period of time and then there is going to be this one moment that they can't support it anymore, and that's where the pain is going to hit. And also those moments are most of the time very emotional, and I have seen many of my clients who are crying on my table because it's one space that they can be a little bit more vulnerable and show that even if they are strong, there's no question about that, is that this weight on their shoulder is so much. So if you feel that I have pain whenever I feel like let myself go and I'm emotional, you might be in this category. This person also is not very good at expressing their feelings, which is a little bit interesting because in day-to-day life they are not comfortable sharing their feeling, but when it's too much and they just break away, then the emotion are just going to rise up and they will be very emotional. Those people also tend to assume that their pain has to result from something physical, right? It's not necessarily on the psychological burden that they have from their life and how they live it. It's more about, I had this one injury. It's because my bone is misaligned, or it's because of that specific muscle. They tend to attribute their pain to a very physical injury, and they dismiss a little bit more the mental charge. They're just like keeping to go forward. Let's put it like this. The type of pain that those people tend to feel, there are pain in the legs, both legs most of the time. And it's interesting when you think about it, because maybe you will recognize now that I explained each category. Each category has a pain that represents their life, right? This person feels like there's nothing to support them because they have to support everybody else. So they might feel their leg is like they don't have any strength. They feel some tingling. They feel like they're not being supported. Those people might benefit from a tool that is, again, kind of simple, but not as easy, and is to try to associate more the type of pain that you feel with your emotional state. So trying to get away from that physical reasoning and more in touch with your own emotion. And if you feel like you are crying, instead of saying, oh, what is this? I just want to put it away. No, pay attention to it and try to recognize if I'm having pain right now and if I'm being emotional, there might be a connection between the two, and having this awareness is definitely going to lead you in the right direction. The next category, the next driver, is the one that tends to be perfect. So The one that tends to be perfect, not all the time, but tends to have those obsessive compulsive. They want everything to be in order and perfect. Those people might have some tensions in the buttocks or shoulders also. But you'll notice that those people, maybe that's you, will have tension a little bit everywhere. They will be not very flexible. They will have this kind of tension all around their body. Their posture also will be very straight, very very like leaning forward, projecting this kind of this posture needs to be perfect. I need to be nice and tall and stiff. So maybe that's you. Maybe you recognize yourself into this. Those people, they are keen on telling you or telling me, or maybe for you it is that you will tend to pinpoint your pain. In other words, maybe you feel something that you can exactly tell, yeah, that's muscle. It's this area right here. So if you're very like capable of pinpointing like really specifically where your pain is, that you may lay into this category as well. For you, the important part is to have a sense that you have control over your pain. Meaning, if you know that there's nothing you can do about your pain, it's not going to feel really good because those people, they like to take and have control over things. So your responsibility is to try to find what can be your control, your responsibility in your own pain, and then go on from there. And of course, anything related to mobility, relaxation, and also flexibility, really good thing to have when it comes to tools for the people that tends to be a little bit into this I need to be perfect mentality. All right, the next one is the hurry up one. Are you this one person that is always in a hurry? This one person that has difficulty to book appointment? This person that is often late? This person that has this kind of a new symptom, but they just come and go? Those are the people that I would put into this category. I see that in some of my clients that the treatment is done, they're about to go, and then just at the end they're like, oh yeah, and about this pain. If that's the type of behavior you have, you might be falling into the hurry up category. For you, you're really like excited, and your nervous system is always on super active. So for you, a good tool to have is to try to rationalize things, meaning you need to plan your day. You need to get a little bit more cognitive. You need to, okay, I need to square this. Yeah, I need a little bit more time management tools. I need also to not so much connect with the emotions because you are so much excited and so much prone to just follow whatever your nervous system tells you to do. You need to put a little bit more of a rational thinking into what's going on and to try to organize things so they're a little bit better for you. So everything that comes with more rational thinking for you is going to help you balance a little bit more your day to day. Few exercise that you could use for if you're into that category. Everything that comes with breathing, right? Diaphragm exercise and also muscle relaxation. So you breathe into your muscle and then you relax them. Those are all different exercise that I would recommend. One last thing about this category is that if you feel that whenever you go to a healthcare professional, you're looking for that miracle cure, or maybe you fall for this, there is this one pill that solves everything, or there is this one device that will solve everything, this one watch, this one patch, this one this or that, and maybe you are into this category. The next one and the final one, it's a complicated category because it will fall into two different subcategories. I'm going to explain. The last one is called the try hard category, and it's not the same as being strong. I'll explain why. So the try hard one, as I said, will divide into two different categories. The first category of the try hard is the one that they feel they're trying hard, but really they're not so much. Those people, they tend to be are more prone to depression. They tend to be really down and low in energy, and they tend to feel themselves like they are a burden to other people. Those people have good intent, but whenever you get some advice about like, hey, perhaps you could start walking more, perhaps you could, do this or do that to change your life. If you never follow up on a exercise routine or some like recommendations, that might be a sign that you are into this category. So if you are into this category, for you, you need something that motivates yourself. You need a little bit more fun. You need to connect with something that, makes you happy, that brings even superficial fun, but something that you have pleasure doing. So getting out of this negative loop and trying to actually accomplish something that is small, not seeing things that are really, really big, but more starting with something really small and then taking it step by step. The other subcategory of the try hard driver or category is actually the type of opposite of the first subcategory. Those people are gonna try so hard that they will exhaust themselves. It's not that they're necessarily depressed or down, but it's more that they're empty of energy. They are completely drained because they're trying so hard at everything they do. They take on a little bit too much also, maybe many different projects. They try to do everything at the same time. That time of people, maybe it's you, will feel that they have high energy. You will maybe tell other people, hey, I have a lot of energy. But if you would look at your body and how you're doing, that would not show this way. So maybe you're trying so hard that you're not even noticing that you're getting burnt out. That's also a small warning sign. People that are in the try hard category, upper trapezius, lower neck, all of that area here, especially the jaw. Some people tend to be teeth grinder. If that's the type of pain or symptoms that you have, then you might be into this category. And if you're in that second subcategory, well, for you, it's to learn how to relax, to learn how to take some days off, to learn how to do some activities that you don't necessarily have to feel like you have to try hard all the time, and to find ways that you can really recover. So for you, your priority is to recover. Okay, so those were all the different drivers or category from the transactional analysis theory. So I'm going to review them just quickly. So make sure that if you are not sure yet in which category you are, then maybe you will notice them by now. So the first one was the please other one, the ones that wants to make everybody else happy, forget themselves. Then the second one was the be strong, the people that are the rock of the family, just keep going forward, and they try to put on with the pain, keep going no matter what. Then there is the be perfect one. So are you the one that is always straight, have a lot of stiffness, and try to do everything as perfect as possible? Or maybe you are the one that is always in a hurry, always late, always postponing thing. That's the hurry up category. And then the last one is the try hard. So it's either the first subcategory where you are maybe a bit more depressed, very low energy. You try to get out of this, but you feel like you have no juice to just get there. And the other one is you're not necessarily in a bad mood, but you're just completely exhausted and drained because you're trying too hard in doing things. All of the different projects, you are in millions of them at the same time. You try to do everything at once. And that even if you tell other people that you have energy, your body doesn't feel like it at all when you connect with it. So for that, you need a little bit more rest. So hopefully this was interesting for you. Hopefully you find yourself into one of that category, and then you might, okay, I'm going to look a little bit more into that and see where those tools might lead me. Maybe that's a good door opener for whatever come next. And just by having awareness of, this specific pain might be related to how I live my life, just this is going to lead you on a path to heal. So I hope you appreciated today's episode, and I will see you in 2 weeks for the next episode of the Internal Compass podcast.